The COVID-19 pandemic has really changed our timelines. It's been a great interruption. I don't even know if interruption is a strong enough word to signify the type of disruption that we've experienced over the past few months, and then here in America more recently. But it's definitely been a different time. But I just want to encourage you with something the Lord um, is saying. Don't rush. Don't rush. A lot of times we have deadlines, we have goals, we have these things, even that God gives us to do, and we are rushing to complete them. But I don't want you to feel like you're behind because of what's going on. And that may sound very contrary to what you're actually experiencing because you have to sit, you have to wait, and you thought things would go like this, and you know, uh, but don't be led by the scenario of your imagination. Don't be led by the scenario of how you feel. And I know it can be very disheartening because people had weddings planned, graduations, I mean, all types of things, career changes. So things are very uncertain. But I want you to rest in the certainty of the Messiah, rest in the certainty of Jesus Christ. Um, Even if things are uncertain, He is still the same. Um, and the best place for you to be time wise is for where God wants you to be. Um, so there are so many things that God told me to do by a certain deadline that happened to be before this virus outbreak, before this global pandemic. And I didn't understand the rigor of some of these timelines. But now that we are here, it makes so much more sense on why God was saying to do certain things, when He said do it, how He said do it, because He knew the magnitude of what was coming. So God, I said that to say, God knew this was coming before you were even born. So whatever timeline that you had post, pre COVID-19, whatever deadline you had, don't feel like you are behind because the best place to be is wherever God has you. Uh, don't try to fight the season. Don't try to force the season. Um, don't mourn over Saul, right? How long, Samuel, will you mourn over Saul? Don't mourn over that deadline. Don't mourn over that forever. Don't be so focused on mourning what you can't seemingly can't do right now because of the circumstances. Focus on what God wants you to do now because this is a great time for the people of God to rest, reflect, and recover. We need to have that time to rest. We need that close, more of that close, intimate fellowship with God. There have been so many broken prayer lives because of careers and jobs. But now, many of us have nothing better to do but spend time with God. So enjoy that time. Get that personal and spiritual rest. Time to spend with family, to get to know one another better, to relate, and to engage our children and our families in a capacity of love. We can reflect on where we are, our successes, our mistakes, what we can do better, how we can come out on the other side of this time with more power, with more accuracy, and doing things on a greater scale and a greater level. And we also can recover. We can recover lost time. I have been saying it for quite a while through the unction of the Lord that God is moving in the recovery of lost time. And some of us, we literally have more time now than ever. And so we can do so much of what God told us to do that we didn't, quite frankly, see a way to fit into our schedules. Now those things can be done with efficiency if we remain disciplined, balance, and avoid distractions. And it's important because some of us were even distracted by things that God didn't tell us to do, things that He didn't call us to do. We had things on our plate that didn't belong to God. They belonged to our own desires, or they belonged to other people. We didn't know how to say no, so we overloaded ourselves. The Lord even spoke to me particularly about prophets. He said there were a lot of prophets traveling and taking engagements that I never told them to take, wearing themselves out. So much so that they don't have time for prayer. They don't have time for Bible study because they're so busy preaching and so busy traveling. But now we have time to rest. We have time to reflect. We have time to make sure that the things that are on our plate after this season are the things that will be on that are on God's heart and God's agenda. So take courage, stay focused, and know you're not behind.